Hey guys, I forgot to say a few quick things and I didn't know if I had time. But this is a 3-point mount with the bell housing, and these saddles here, I actually had these made for me. I wrote up the dimensions and I took them to a fabricator and had him weld these up, because the stringers are solid. I'm not hiding anything behind here whatsoever. But when I got the boat, it only came with these 4 mounts into the wood, and while that was okay, for some reason I just felt the need to spread the weight of this engine in this point, so I had these made up. When I was going to build a big 900,000 horsepower engine, that's when I would have done the rail kit and maybe a pump brace and gotten more crazy, but this setup here is just absolutely fine with the Aggressor A impeller, which is Tensilloy, spinning about 52 to 5400 RPM, I think. An Aggressor A full A is equivalent to a Berkeley 2, and I think this engine is making right around 600 horsepower in that RPM range to turn that Aggressor, and I do love the Aggressor impeller. There's no nicks and cracks in it. The clearance is set up, I think I set it up around 18 to 20 thousandths to the nose on the shoulder wear ring. I got that impeller, the thrust bearing, and the loader, the top loader underneath is from Tom Papp, who was a great guy, and we had a lot of communications when he was alive, and he was the one that really gave me a ton of information on setting this pump up, how to stack the clearances throughout it and all that stuff. So I wanted to mention that, and mothballs to keep the critters out for when the boat hasn't been used. Like it says, it hasn't been used since May of 2013. I might go out in it next week, being the sun's out. I wanted to show you just kind of the dash. Their VDO gauges, someone asked me, I replaced the tack twice with a VDO. I tried to keep the gauges original. The one gauge, the water temperature gauge in the center, for some reason it's the backing of it, or the face of it has a little cloud to it, but it clears right up. All the gauges work. There's a electric oil gauge, and also I mounted this odometer mechanical gauge, just to have 2 oil pressure gauges. And then I mounted this the speedometer gauge on a cup. I didn't want to drill into this and put a big hole where it comes out and looks at you. So this is actually, I think, a wave runner gauge, and I mounted it on the steering. The steering does turn easily. It does have a little bit of play in it, but it's centered going down the river. It's a Teleflex, I believe, so there's no way to tighten up that little bit of play. It's not a rack and pinion steering. And it, there's a little ski locker under there, but you better have a little woman that could get under there to get stuff, because I sure as hell can't get under there. And I wanted to say something real quick. Earlier, I looked under here, and it didn't look. I just want to show you. Those marks are watermarks where I didn't get to wash it. So that's just watermarks under there. And that little clouded area, that's actually the frost of the clear coat. Because like I said, under here is all clear, but that's where it stopped. And I didn't want to make a solid line, because a solid line will almost pick it. So I toothed it back, and then I kind of frosted it away, and that gave it the best adhesion. At least I think so. So that's what that mark is there. And that could probably, if you hit that with a wheel and compound, that'll come up black again. So I just wanted to tell you that's just water, and it just needs to be washed under there. Alright, so I wanted to point out that engine mount to you. I don't know if I have enough room on the other video to do it. And it's a very healthy engine. Right now it has an 850 vacuum secondary carburetor Holley that I put on there brand new. I also have a 850 double pumper annular that I bought, and the annular double pumper is a great carburetor. I took time to set it up, but I think that carburetor would be more happy if this engine was spinning like 6,000 or 7,000 RPMs, and it's not. I don't want it to. And that there is the MSD ready to run distributor that I put in maybe in 2010 or 11, and again the boat's been sitting. I haven't used it since May of 2013. Oh, by the way, the wiring harness throughout the boat was new. I sent a schematic to Greg Shoemaker of each gauge, drew out a blueprint schematic all the way down the gunnel to the back of the boat to the terminal block, and he was actually so impressed with what I sent him. He says, Ray, he says, I wish more people would put the detail into sending me a wiring schematic as you did. And literally when I got it from him, it was just phenomenal. Everything fit perfectly. There was no cutting, no extending needed of any wires, and it was so clean. The original wires when I got this boat, guys, it was hacked into, it was patched, it never gave me any problems, but it was just ugly, and I didn't like it. So Wienen, Team G, I'm sorry, yeah, Wienen Stealth intake manifold. Everybody told me to get that one, and that's the one I got. And I'm going to try to get this other video up too. Again, the headers are rock solid, and I think extremely acceptable. No wood in the transom, nothing to rot back there. I've just seen so many boats that, you know, guys think they're a 10 or they're cherry or they're mint or they're perfect and they're flawless, and they're not. And like I says, I'm not going to say this is a 10 out of a 10, but I would give it a strong 8. You know, it's a good boat, it's a solid boat, and I don't know, I might get to use it next week. All right, thanks.